This episode is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Pizant Building Products. Pizant Building Products has been providing contractors and builders with the supplies necessary to complete their jobs since 1964. They've built a reputation of honest, helpful, and quality service, serving the HRM for the last 58 years. Now with 7 locations in Nova Scotia and 1 in New Brunswick. All right, welcome back to the Maritech Construction Podcast. Excited today to have with us Phil Farrow and Jim Allison from Maritech Construction. And yeah, thanks for being here, guys.
Oh, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, no, excited to be here.
Yeah, we got a beautiful day, great view there. So
Unreal view.
It is. The calm after the storm.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you were saying, Jim, that you guys had a bit of damage at was it a horse barn that you were working on?
Yes.
For the Sobeys?
Yes.
It was a roof?
Yes.
Yeah.
We sustained a little bit of wind damage.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of them out there.
But we're
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, ripped the sheets right off the roof, so.
Yeah, what kind of roof was it?
Metal roof.
Yeah.
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 Standing seam roof, actually, so.
Right.
It was quite a bit of wind to take that off.
Yeah. It's a big barn, you were saying, too, right?
It's a big barn, big, beautiful barn.
Yeah, it is a nice spot.
Mm-hmm.
Show horses. And
Yeah.
where is it? Right on the water. obviously.
It's not far from the water. Yeah. In Pictou County.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, how would I say? It is the Yellowstone of Pictou County.
Oh, that's a great show.
Yeah.
You guys watch that show?
I
Yeah.
have watched it.
It's
Yeah.
good, eh?
It is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a solid show. I don't know if they come out with an episode, season 5 or not. I think they are.
I think they are, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys do quite a bit of work with the Sobeys family?
In my past life, I did a lot of work with the
Let's talk about
Sobeys.
that. We usually start by getting a little bit of our guests' journeys and how they kind of got where they're at, and just give some backstory. That's how we usually start. So maybe we can start with that. Jim, you were with RCS for a long time, and then you had is it A3 Electric?
A3 Electric before that, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and Highland Electric. So. Yeah, and A3 Electric is the mother company that owns, well, people won't recognize that name, but they do recognize the name Plexus, because Plexus is owned by the A3 Corporation, which was my corporation, which we sold, to move on to other ventures, right? So.
Okay, yeah, and your time at RCS you were there for
11 years. 11 years, and there wasn't one day that wasn't exciting. I'll say that. Yep. You're allowed to spread your wings, and you're allowed to do things. And
yeah, you must have been there, right? I guess you were there till you were saying earlier till 2018. So you're kind of there through a lot of big growth and.
Yeah, I like to say all the growth. When I first joined them, they only had the one office. It was in Bedford, and then with my help, we opened up in Moncton because of my contacts in Moncton, because that was a bread and butter place at the time. Mm-hmm. And
did you grow up in Bedford? Did you grow up there? Or?
No. I grew up in a little town outside of Moncton, Miramichi. Right?
Okay,
right, a little town. It's a city now. It's a city.
Yeah, everybody knows where that
sorry,
is.
Sorry, everybody. Whoa.
Called Miramichi as if nobody's heard of it before.
It's still my little town.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I went to Moncton in my 20s. I was in business when the time I was 24. So, anyways, I developed a lot of contacts and everything,
sure.
And then Doug and Bruce at the time thought that would be a good guy to go start that office up there. And of course, I pushed that envelope. Yeah. And we got that going, and it's thriving. It's thriving today. So, good for RCS.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What about yourself, Phil? I know we've had a few hockey players on the show, so I wanted to mention that you played at Plattsburgh in New York in your university days.
Yep. Yeah, so I went to university there for 4 years, and prior to that I went to high school in the States, so I was away for quite a while.
For hockey?
For hockey, yeah. And then father started Maritech in 2010, so right out of school I hopped in. And
that's Brian Farrow for our listeners.
Yeah, Brian Farrow. And other than that, yeah, I've had a lot of many different hats in the business throughout the years. So I've seen everything kind of develop firsthand, and it's been fun.
Awesome. What are some of the projects you guys have currently undergo right now that you're working on?
We've got a couple of huge ones. I really can't say the name of it right now, I don't think.
A little bit confidential.
But a little confidential. We're starting it in about 3 weeks, but it is in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And it is going to involve a very large tilt-up. It'll be our first large tilt-up project. And we're super, super stoked about it. So
awesome. Yeah, just for some context for our listeners, so Maritech, kind of the vision, the goal is a design builds company. It's very relationship driven. You were saying previous to us going live, and it's kind of finding that niche. You're not necessarily bidding on public tenders, competing with other GCs. There's always competition, but your niche is kind of Butler style buildings, tilt up construction as a design build general contractor, and very much relationship driven. Is that does that kind of?
Yeah, we don't use the word butler. It's a bad word.
Yeah, we're actually a Robertson dealer. So.
Robertson, yeah. I guess it's just one of them brands that just kind of sticks in people's heads, right?
Yeah. So for all our sponsors,
well, we'll edit that. We'll edit that out.
Yeah. We push Robertson buildings.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the generic term? Is this steel erected building?
Pre-engineered.
Pre-enginered.
Yeah. Well, I think they call them metal buildings now.
Yeah.
What they're calling them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you guys have kind of just you have your relationships with certain people, and that's what your focus is on. Is the design build and then on to the construction management of the job. And
yes, for the commercial side of it, for sure.
Yeah.
But since we've opened up the residential side of tilt-up construction,
right.
Obviously we're gonna be making a lot of new relationships with a lot of new people, which has already started and going very well. So, yeah,
so that's an interesting topic. The tilt-up and residential. I'm sure there's probably people thinking
beautiful,
because that hasn't been something that's very common, and that's something that you guys are kind of working into the business model to specialize in.
Yes,
and you do have some projects that are kind of in the works that you probably can't mention, but one in New Brunswick maybe.
Yeah. The New Brunswick project is for one developer, and he wants to start with 150 homes. So that's really nice. We're really excited to get involved with him. And he thinks it's a no-brainer. And he would like to see the whole subdivision built in tilt-up. And he wants to target the senior communities, older people that don't want to live in buildings. They want to live in their own house. And so the design is everything is on one floor. But, I mean, these homes are virtually no maintenance.
So they're not multi-level homes?
No, they're single-story homes built for my age and up.
No stairs.
Yes, no stairs. No stairs, yeah. And utilize all the energy efficiencies in it. Like the homes they're all in-floor heat. So there's in-floor heat everywhere. We're heating them with hot water tanks. So your energy costs, if you're used to paying $300 a month for energy costs, well, it's going to go down to $75, kind of a thing. So it's the energy savings and the sustainability out of the houses, right?
Yeah, because there's so many variables. Not just the fact that the envelope is concrete and it's tilt up, but
you
got the in-floor heat.
Yeah. That and we literally can build 100 of the same house, but no two houses will look the same.
Right.
We could put a brick exterior on one.
Aesthetically,
we could paint. We could change the reveals on the exterior to give it a different look.
And so
there's endless possibilities.
Right. And so you guys are trying to build an in-house team to do this in-house, right? The labor portion of this tilt-up construction for residential.
Yes.
And so that's going to be a major focus moving forward.
Yes.
It is, for sure. We're pretty excited about it.
So what does that process look different than typical commercial tilt-up? A little bit as far as the process of installation, or? Like anybody who's worked on tilt-up commercial can easily do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say it's very similar.
Yeah, it's very similar. A whole lot more attention to detail on the residential sides. Like commercial, you can make little deviations, little mistakes in your reveals, and you're never going to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it.
Different.
The walls are massive.
Yeah.
You know, these here are short walls. You know, they're not that tall. If there's an imperfection, you're going to see it. Yeah. So the quality control on a residential is a couple of steps higher than a commercial building. And commercial buildings, the quality control is already top level, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be even more, right? Especially
if
when
you're only going up one level, then your crane situation is a lot less demanding too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to put them up with 100-ton cranes. Where a commercial building, you need your 400, 500-ton cranes to lift those panels, right? So,
is there some projects, Phil, that you worked on, like with your dad, Brian, and with Maritech? Was it 2010 when it started, when the company's inception?
Literally started in the winter of 2010.
Okay.
I think I came in the spring. So, and the first year or so, I was just out cold calling, just basically letting people know that Maritech was around and we've been started. So, I didn't get heavy into on site work, kind of site supering and stuff like that until a year after that.
Right.
And I mean, I've been growing up, I was a laborer in the summers. That was kind of my summer job every summer.
So you kind of grew up around
it, yeah.
When you weren't playing hockey.
That's right.
On the construction site.
Yeah, pretty much in the summers, Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, a year of business development and sales, and it's got to be difficult to get a small construction firm off the ground like that in that regard, like a design build contract, and like until you find some good clients, and then you get rolling with some repeat clients. I'm sure you've been doing work for the same people the last 10 years.
We do have some repeat clients that have been really really good to us over the years. But Brian as well, he's been in the business his whole life too.
Yeah, so his reputation.
He had connections, reputation. So that's kind of where we started. And I would literally just go door to door and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And eventually it started paying off. And
right. Is there any projects that kind of stand out to you that, since 2010 that you've worked on as a site super or in Maritech that are kind of like, the milestone projects, or that you took a leap on? Or
well, the first substantial project I did would have been Proudfoot's Home Hardware in New Glasgow.
Okay.
And that was probably the second year into Maritech. So that was a 30-some thousand square foot retail store with the lumber storage. And after that, that kind of took us off with them. So
right.
That definitely sticks out in my mind.
So were you guys, was that construction management or was that a GC?
We were GC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are most of the jobs GC for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't typically do CM work, or?
Oh, we do. Yeah.
You do.
We do. We do both.
Do like everybody.
Yeah.
You can take what
exactly.
comes. Yeah. And like as far as labor, was there always an in-house kind of labor force with Maritech, or is that something that you kind of work towards?
We've always had a small core of labor in-house.
Yeah.
Kind of the way we look at it. If it's something that isn't in a sub-trade scope, then our people will pick it up and take care of it.
Sure. And like, is there trades that you kind of stick with all along the way? I mean, you're always tendering out looking for the best price, but is there a lot of trades that you have built
you build relationships with trades over the years, and you get to know people and kind of know what you're getting and what you're dealing with. But at the same time, we're always looking for new trades as well.
What was it like for you, Jim, when in 2019 when you got a call from Brian and you went, moved over to Maritech, kind of starting with a smaller, maybe smaller is the wrong word. I mean, just a smaller team from a company that had just grown so much. What was that transition like for you?
Actually, it was a pretty easy transition because I've just experienced it, right? So it was easy for me to know what worked from where I came from, and what was going to help Maritech, right? So and Brian is he's a very bright individual, I must say, and Brian seen the value in that. So it was easy to set Maritech up and set them on the right path for growth, right?
Yeah. So you kind of shared the same vision, and you had just gone through that for 11 years with another company. That
yes,
yeah.
So
you get right in the middle of
So I'm putting that 10 years, 11 years of experience to work for somebody else, right? So it's kind of nice.
Did you say you were considering retirement at that time?
Well, actually, I was kind of retired.
So much for that.
Yeah, so much for that. I'd actually set up a little consulting company, and I picked up a few clients on the way, but they were sporadic and going, and then COVID hit. I was actually working on quite a large project for Partners for Care, which is part of the QE2, which I can't talk about because I'm not allowed to. I signed a non-disclosure on that, but we took it right to the pretty well getting ready to build stage.
Sure.
And then COVID hit, and so the job got canned and all this. So I was pretty quiet when Brian called, which I didn't mind at the time. It was a good time, and so anyway, when he called, he said, "Well, this is more full time. The consultant gig is good, but it's sporadic."
Yeah.
So
talk about the vision for Maritech. I mean, Brian's not with us, but we've got Phil and you, Jim, and is there kind of a long-term goal? Like, obviously you talked about the residential tilt-up stuff, which is very unique, and but is there any other parts of the vision you can speak of as far as where the company's headed over the next 5-10 years, or what the long-term goal is?
Well, the vision is we want to be the biggest, the best, the most proficient tilt-up contractor in Atlantic Canada.
And does that go for commercial and residential?
Yes, yes. We'd love to see Maritech being known as one of the experts and one of the go-to.
Right.
So anytime another GC is building a tilt-up or wants to bid on a tilt-up, they'll use us as a sub.
Oh, right.
As a sub.
Yeah.
And we'll go put the tilt-up up for them.
Okay.
Right? And then walk away. And
so you're pricing those projects as a subcontractor?
Yes. 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 We're quite able to do that and willing to do that. So and does the scope stop at the tilt-up then, as far as those? Usually it does.
Yeah.
Usually it does. We'll take it as far as they want it.
Yeah.
But most GCs say, okay, you put the structure up for me. We'll take it from here because we're the experts, right?
Yeah.
And we're not there to step on anybody's toes, or compete with them. We don't want to compete with them. Right.
So you'd be subbing out the tilt-up from B.D. Stevens or Lindsay's or Iron Maiden, any of these companies that are looking to get that it can't perform it in-house at that time.
Yeah, well, the companies you just named all can perform it in-house. But the thousands of other GCs that are not capable of putting, they don't have the wherewithal to do tilt-up. And trust me, we've gone through quite a learning curve. You just don't say you're going to be a tilt-up contractor. It's just not that easy.
Right. Talk about some of the details why it's not that easy, for our listeners.
Well, the main thing is where do you get the training? Where do you get the experience? Right. If you've never built one, where do you get the experience? And where do you get the manpower with the capability to get certified? Where do you get that? And those are all kind of trade secrets right now with us. We're lucky that I found Maritech a mentor in Ontario, and he's working with us, and they're actually going to supply the supervision for our first 1 or 2 projects,
right?
And they're going to take our men for 3-4 weeks, whatever it takes,
for training
and for training,
qualifications,
for training. Yeah.
You got something to add there, Phil?
No, I was just thinking we went and met this company that he's talking about in Ontario, and this was all new to me at the time as well, and we got to see that day they had numerous projects at different phases So we kind of got to see it firsthand, and there is a lot of different tricks and different knacks to do this efficiently and properly. So I'm looking forward to learning more from them.
Right. And so as far as the residential tilt-up, like, is that something that you're going to try and advocate with Maritech? As far as, you know, if you're talking to developers, or you're talking to finance groups, or you're talking to, you know, builders, to try and advocate for that option.
Absolutely.
Is there any kind of long-term plan for just to educate people? I guess that's the common sense thing to do, and try and advocate that, you know, it's a good the options out there, because there's probably a lot of developers that wouldn't even know that they could consider such a thing.
Yeah, and they're going to shortly, because we've got our costing down now. Like, we know what the cost per square inch is now to do a residential tilt-up. So now it's the time to start educating, because now we got cost to compare to. Mm-hmm. So, and we've got lots of cost comparisons on typical construction versus tilt-up to discuss with them.
Right, and it's a lot of different variables too, other than the fact, you know, the cost is one thing, but the speed and process of the build is twice as fast.
The quality of the build. There's lots of variables.
Yeah,
there.
in-floor heat.
Yeah.
Elimination of trades. Like, right. So, like, you know, take framers right now.
Take your wood framing crew out. Take your...
a wood framer right now, they're so busy. They are so busy.
You can't find anyone to bid on small multi-res wood framed structures in the city, that's for sure.
Oh, no, it's everywhere.
You can't find them. Nobody will price them.
No, that's right. That's right. Wood trusses right now. The delivery's super long.
Yeah, and we're like, the cost isn't 4 times as high for wood right now, but it's still higher than it was 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're eliminating wood trusses. Yeah. Right. Out of the thing, and
can you build a multi-level home with tilt-up, or are you just not?
Yeah, actually, in Atlantic, Canada, we've got the capability to build up to 6 stories.
Residential tilt-up.
Yeah. So that would be an apartment building, for an example.
Multi-res.
Yeah, multi-res. So 6 stories, which we've got 2 or 3 in design right now, being priced out for some clients. That will probably be goes. So.
Wow.
Yeah, we've also got a 2-story house to develop as well, correct, Jim?
Yep.
Yeah. So yes, you can do the 2-story.
Right.
homes.
So when you said single story, you were just referring to that specific project in New Brunswick. That's confidential. But those 150 homes or whatever there is, they just happen to be single story.
Yes.
Yeah, and we can show some renderings and pictures for our listeners and stuff. But they're really a neat design.
They're so modern looking, right?
Yeah.
They got that modern architectural look.
Exactly.
They're super sharp. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about? So is there a specific architecture firm that you're starting to work with on some of these residential tilt-ups? That they're kind of, you know, becoming more kind of groomed in that process, or is that not an issue?
It absolutely is an issue. Architects that are not familiar with tilt-up, they don't understand tilt-up. Like, they're very hard. They would have to go through a learning curve too. So we sourced out, through one of my past relationships, we sourced out probably the largest tilt-up architect in North America. So they're out of Texas, but they got offices in St. John.
Can you name the company?
Yeah, Power Browns Architecture.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's name is Bruce Walk.
And they're based in the States, and they do have an office here?
They got offices in Toronto, Vancouver, and St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada. Now, not only with the architecture, we said, well, it's the structural. Structural means a lot, right? So we sourced out LJB Structural.
Structural engineers.
Yeah, structural engineers. They're also out of Texas.
So could you use PMR or someone here?
We can, but there's going to be a learning curve.
Right. So you want to avoid that.
Yeah, we're going to be a learning curve. And the one thing is, who around here in structural has 2,000 tilt-ups under their belt, designs? Right. They do. You know, there isn't very many firms that come. So for us, for the comfort level, and they're saving us money. They're saving us money because they've made all the mistakes, you know, in 2,000 designs. You know, they've ran up against every, you know, block and corner and rock that they could. and they figured out a solution, right?
Right. And so for this project in New Brunswick, and I'm not going to pry, the 100 and some single-story tilt-up homes, is that something that this group, this development group, or this builder came to you and wanted to do that, or did you pitch the idea, to use tilt-up?
No, we pitched the idea.
Right.
We pitched the idea. The only thing I will tell you that it wasn't a very hard pitch. The developer is European. I'll let that out of the bag. He's European. He understands concrete, and he understands. He didn't really understand tilt-up. The sandwich panel, tilt-up panel,
right.
that. But he understands concrete, coming from Europe, and so his interest was piqued really quick, right? Because he doesn't want to build a typical house with wood and siding and a fake brick on the front, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing that in 20 years' time looks like it's 20 years old.
Right.
So he wants to build a house that in 20 years' time looks like it's still brand new, which he'll get out of the tilt-up, right?
Yeah. And so we'll show some of these renderings, but like as far as aesthetics of the architect you're working with and this European developer, the cladding situation there, is it some masonry, some clay brick, some Mac metal, like metal linear siding, or is some of those exterior just painted?
It's all the above.
All the above.
It's all the above.
Yeah.
There are virtually no limits
Yeah.
to the exterior we can put on these.
Phil, you got something to add there?
Yeah, well, no, you can put your liners in for your different exterior designs. So, like Jim said, it really is endless on how you want the outside of your facade to look.
So, just for our listeners who, are tuning in and give us like a tilt-up 101, because it's. I mean, how many car dealerships are tilt-up? Most, right?
A lot of car dealerships are tilt-up. They've learned a long time ago about the energy efficiencies.
And so there's a couple variables that mean the most, and one is energy efficiency because of the sandwich panel, the concrete, the heat retention, that kind of stuff. It's the speed of construction with your building envelope, because the shell takes the longest. It's the part of the building that costs and takes the longest.
Yeah.
So tilt-up's always been one of those things where certain types of construction just always seem to head that. Even a lot of office buildings in Burnside are tilt-up.
Yeah. Height and open span are two big things.
Yeah.
So we can pretty well build them as a high, and we can build larger spans.
So you get rid of a lot of center columns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which makes, retail warehouses easier to rack. Also, the other thing, these are concrete walls, so you're getting a lot less damage inside your building and outside if, forklifts run into them. Yeah,
and for our listeners, it's the 29th September. We're recording. This episode will drop in a few weeks from now, but we're just post Fiona here, and 4 days later, and we were talking before the episode, Jim and I, Phil, that, people would hear this and think, geez, it might be nice if I lived on certain shores in Port aux Basques on the weekend, or Cape Breton if I had a tilt-up constructed home.
Yeah, no kidding.
So there's another big thing, too. I mean, if there's a hurricane coming once every couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this thing could really take off for those kind of reasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're talking about homes that are close to the water, that are vulnerable during certain kinds of weather.
And these hurricanes seem to be coming more frequently, so...
Yeah,
it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, I was talking to a tilt wall contractor in Ontario that is looking to get into the residential business too. And he said that he gets a call a day from California will you come out here and build me a tilt-up house? Wildfires, right? They're in the wildfires.
Yeah.
So the tilt-up house would be the perfect house to live into if you had to live through a wildfire. So you got your hurricanes, you got your flood. If they flood, they're impervious to mold. Obviously, the right conditions, everything will get mold, but they're impervious to mold. So like to be in a flood zone and get 5 feet of water in them, the cleanup is going to be a lot less damage. You're not going to have to rip walls out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to dry them out and things like that. But your house is going to be back to normal much, much faster, much, much less expensive.
Yeah, it makes me think, because I remember reading up on like a lot of homes in the States were being built with structural steel stud. Certain parts of, there's different construction in different countries and different climates and stuff. How much is tilt-up construction for residential? Is it popular in certain areas right now, or has it been growing in the States? Has it been growing in other countries, or that you're aware of?
I'll just give you a little example of what's happening in the industry. So one of the largest suppliers of the materials needed to go into those structures when you're building a tilt-up is a company out of Ohio. It's Dayton Superior Products. So they came down to visit us. Obviously, they're very interested and very excited to see us in the residential end of it. As a matter of fact, they're huge. They're a huge company, very huge, worldwide for tilt-up. They're actually separating a division, and they're going to make a residential divisions. I don't know how many millions of dollars they're going to spend to make this division, but they said they have to, because it's getting so busy where they live that they want to make a separate division. And they said, like, nobody in Atlantic Canada is doing this, and you guys are so on the right track. Like, just want to tell you guys, like, you are so on the right track. And first to the market is going to be the best guys, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll be us. When other companies see our success, I have no doubt they're going to copy us. But listen, we're going to be so far ahead, and there's room for competition. Competition's good sometimes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as Maritech, Jim, with yourself as business development and the management team, Phil, site super and management as well. Your father, Brian, the owner. Is there anyone else involved in the management end other than the three of you at this time?
Well, we've got Ali in the office as well, who's a project manager.
Okay.
That would be sort of our leadership team in the office. And then we've got site supers out in the field as well. And a certain amount of carpenters and laborers.
Yeah. So yeah. What's the in-house kind of building this tilt-up installation team? Like, is it 5 to 10 guys at this time? Is it you're working towards a larger crew? Like, a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we're going to start with 8 guys in the field. 8 guys in the field, and we'll expand from there.
Yeah, and 8 guys can handle, a lot of large projects, right? Like an 8-man crew for a tilt-up crew is... They
could build an Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so you're working your way up to a higher number, you said, or
just we'll train. We'll train those guys, and then, they'll be the experts in their fields, sure. And they're going to pass on their knowledge to more crews. Yeah. And so eventually, we could have a New Brunswick crew, we could have a Nova Scotia crew, we could have a Prince Edward Island crew, we could have a crew in Newfoundland, right? And grow from there, right?
Yeah, and this is something like. You could be doing a lot of subdivisions with multiple townhouses, and you could have crews in different provinces. If this tilt-up residential stuff really starts to pick up, right?
Yeah,
and that you might already have stuff on the books that you will have that on the go in 6 months from now.
The only thing without letting the cat out of the bag, it's looking really good.
It's looking great.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Oh, that's good. That's exciting. It's exciting to see a new method. Of construction and residential, especially like you said, with how hard it is right now to find wood framers. It's, everything. Like even the foundations. The foundations to get a foundation contractor right now, like you're looking 6 months to a year out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the numbers are just astronomical. When everybody's so busy, the numbers start climbing up. But some of the numbers these days on tenders is just insane. Everyone's so busy. And
what you could build a house for 7, 8 years ago, what you can build a house. Oh yeah, yeah. And they're not coming back down.
Yeah, they're
definitely not coming back down.
So the costing for these tilt-up method homes, how much more expensive than a typical home? We're looking at like 10-20% more.
So a custom home, which is what these would be comparable to, so a custom built home. These are not cookie cutter homes; they're custom built homes. Most of the finishes in them are pretty high end. No, we're actually on the other end of the spectrum. We're lower. Yeah. So, and what you get as an end product compared, for us, it's a no-brainer and not a hard sell when we can get face-to-face with the client.
Right.
Because the costs are less and the quality's higher. The types of finishes are better.
Yeah.
The sustainability, you know, the maintenance factor, the I call the sex appeal is better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So do you think, you know, like you said, if you're first to market, you know, you're always going to have people come along. Competition's healthy. Do you see some of the companies that are providing tilt-up in-house now with their own crews on commercial side? A lot of these companies, they're not going to enter into the residential realm. Doesn't matter if there's, you know, but do you see some companies that are already doing tilt-up commercial-wise that could easily just start taking on residential work if that becomes a thing?
Yeah, they could, but most of them right now are awful busy doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But hey, like everybody's an opportunist, right? So if they see this taken off, you know, and we prove the concept, which we're going to, we prove it. Yeah, no, they're going to jump on board, guaranteed.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah. So we're prepared for that, and actually looking forward to it. So.
All right. So how fast do you think this will take off? Like, do you think that? Do you think we're going to see this a lot, like in the near future?
Yeah.
We're not seeing it yet, right? There isn't anything happening really yet.
No, but you'll see it before the spring, like the completed projects. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. We can build all through winter. Like winter doesn't stop us from building. So and actually our first job looks like it's going to be through the winter. So, yeah.
Isn't it nice when they hold off just long enough so you can start in November and December?
It's usually the way it works.
Yeah. A lot of that was us too, though, going through, like held up, because they were interested a while ago, some of the clients, but we had to do our due diligence and our training and our cost analysis, and we had to go through all that, right? So we're only at that point now, so that we could prepare to sign a contract with a set price. So,
do you, as far as your experience with RCS, and we were talking a little bit about traction before, what are your thoughts on, if you're with a small team, a smaller group, some systems that can be put in place as far as delegating and just structuring the business in a way that it's, it kind of manages itself instead of consuming the, everybody that's involved. Like, what are your thoughts on traction itself? And then what are your thoughts on some companies that are smaller that, need a little bit of that, but not the whole thing, especially specifically in construction? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm a believer in traction. I'm not a believer of the whole system. I don't think it was specifically geared for the construction industry, but there are 70% of traction is definitely geared for all companies, construction included.
So as far as like the structure of visionary, implementer, operator, those kind of positions,
exactly.
Understanding where you fit in those avatars.
Exactly. So there is a lot of traction that would help the small up and coming, commercial, residential.
Have you talked about that
contractor
stuff like with Phil and with Brian?
Yeah, I have actually.
What are your thoughts on it, Phil? As far as much as you know about it?
I'm not entirely familiar with traction, but I can appreciate what you're saying. With in a small company, it is hard to not consume yourself with everything all day, every day, right? Yeah. So. It's definitely something that we have had talks about, and hopefully, in the future we can work our way towards, like you said, the company can kind of run itself.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we've implemented a lot of things like a board of directors meeting every week, accountabilities, giving everybody their challenges, their rocks.
That's right.
What's the vision going to be? Like we have implemented a lot of traction things right now.
And a lot of these things were, Jim kind of brought his knowledge, to us, and we've made a lot of these changes in the last, year and a half. So,
it's like there's so much opportunity, and it's so easy to get taken off focus if you're not clear on your vision, or opportunities are presenting themselves, but does it fit with our model, or is it something that's there's going to be a high margin, but it's just going to take up too much energy, and it's not really our thing. Like, I just feel like it's, especially as a design build general contractor, like one of the things you mentioned you do is you stay away from the public tenders, because it's just not, I mean, you'll bid them if you need the work, but it's not your, and I think that's a lot of people's mentality too, because it's so competitive and so condensed here in Atlantic Canada. So you stick to those repeat relationships, design, build, construction management, or GC, and it's repeat work, and it's much more feasible, right? Just that simple mentality. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's the avenue that we're trying to take, and like you said, that doesn't mean we won't look at tendered work. If there's something there that we think we can put a good shot at, then we'll definitely look at it. I just found in the past it's extra work, it's extra paperwork. It's more time consuming. It's a battle.
Plus you're competing with a lot of companies
tight
that are
to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And then you add in all the extra legwork that goes with it, and then your margins are even slimmer. So, and
you're competing with like 5 to 15 other GCs that are larger. And
you go to these site meetings to look at a project, and there's 15, 20 people there.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit of competition.
He who makes the biggest mistake gets the job.
That's what they say. So
yeah, unless you miss something.
Yeah. But getting back to the traction, like there's lots, like we've implemented a set of core values now, and we have all the staff right from the sites right to the office, like doing it right. And we call it our CATT, C-A-T-T, our communication, accountability, teamwork, and transparency. The big one is the last T, the transparency. Like our clients that we deal with, they know how transparent and honest we are. Like, we don't hide shit, right? We don't hide stuff. It's not a crime to make money. We show them the money we're making, right?
Yeah, there's no shame in that.
There's no shame in it, and but that transparency thing is what our clients really love about us. They don't feel like there's any bullshit going on behind the doors. Can I say that on here?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Keep her going.
Yeah. So that, and like we've got our project coordinators, our estimators, everybody. Like if you ask anybody in the company what our core values are, they'll spit it off to you.
And so is the core focus as you narrow into this realm of residential tilt up, is that going to kind of steer the company away from some of the things you're doing now as far as some of the projects you're taking on commercial wise, or do you still see you having both sides of the?
Well, I think I can see us keeping both sides of it going, especially in the tilt. We'll definitely stay on the commercial side of things.
Sure. You were mentioning earlier about when you were with the A3, the project on the Confederation Bridge. I wanted to mention that just for our list. I think it's you helped. How many years ago would this have been when you reinstalled the? It wasn't the pendants for all the 400 and some lights on the Confederation
471.
Bridge. Yeah, so it was just the bulbs or the
the light fixtures.
The light fixtures.
Yeah, the light fixtures on the bridge. Yeah. The manufacturer was having problems. Not necessarily their fault, but they were having problems with the fixtures. And basically, all the light standards on the bridge were becoming tuning forks and just shaking the living crap out of the fixtures, and just they weren't lasting. Because of the movement, like the oscillating pendants in the bridge. Yeah, like you got a bridge moving up and down, which is designed to do all the time, and the heavier the traffic, the more it moves. And then you got the wind coming up the Northumberland Strait, and it's always like a 30-kilometer day is a nice day, right? Right, hitting it sideways, so it was making those steel light standards like take a beating. Yeah. Right, so. Yeah, so the manufacturer, because they were in litigation with the GC that did the bridge and the electrical contractor, they wanted to go to an outside source for the solution. So that's where they came to us. And one of the reasons they came to us is because I had implemented a ISO standards. So ISO 9002 or 1002. I forget now. It's been so long. Yeah. But anyways, we were on our way to being certified. So to work on the bridge, they wanted you to be certified in ISO. So that helped us. So that's why they came to us. So
that's pretty high up on those lights, because I think the center of the bridge is a couple hundred feet, right? And
it is.
Add the height, whatever the height of the pendants are for the lights, it'd be another 60 feet probably.
Yeah, 30.
30.
Another 30 feet, and when you're looking over the edge, it's a long way down. It's a long way down. We were losing a man a day, to nerves. To nerves, yeah. To nerves. Sometimes they came back, sometimes they didn't, but it was. No,
it's a neat story. I mean, that's a pretty unique contract to get it. Right? It's not, he said he did it twice too, right? They called you up to do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are they going to call? Who are they going to call next time?
I don't know.
Business.
I'd do it again.
just do it through Maritech.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Phil likes that idea.
Yeah.
Try anything once.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, it's been great to chat with you guys. Is there anything else you want to kind of get out there to our listeners or kind of promote on behalf of Maritech? I mean, we talked a lot about the company and this new plan for residential tilt up, and that's certainly an interesting.
Yeah. So the two T's in our core values, right? The teamwork and the transparencies. So we've implemented a construction software, which a couple of the other big guys have already done it too, but we were actually first.
What platform is it?
That's the Procore.
Oh, okay.
Procore. So we use Procore. They were using Procore before I joined them, and
but most people are using Procore now.
It's very popular now.
Now, yeah.
But within the last 10 years.
Yeah, we use it all the way through. We use it right from like when we get the call about the job, it gets entered into Procore. Like we use it.
Oh, so without any internal systems of your own, you're using Procore.
Right.
We're bidding through Procore, and then managing the project from start to finish on Procore. Which, from my opinion, from a project manager's point of view, it's really changed the game for me, and just for the flow of information and like Jim said, the transparency. There's daily logs every day. There's pictures every day, so they're seeing
and it's
live updates of the job sites.
Yeah, it's a vastly integrated.
It is vastly integrated,
right from point A to decide to bid the project to substantial completion.
Yeah, to all your shop drawings, all your sub trades are on there, and so it.
And as a former project manager, you see that.
Absolutely,
more than.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think FieldWire's another one. There's different ones, but Procore seems to just have the industry just cornered all across the globe, really. Yeah,
I've looked at them all. Yeah. Procore was the pick, right? Even in my past life, we tried to work with a local company out of New Glasgow with another system. And it was good, but it's no Procore. Procore was the only one that had the complete package, right? So it's not cheap. Not cheap.
What were some of the differences that you found? You say complete package. Was there anything that stands out that you can detail for us?
Well,
or like just the fact that it's so integrated across the whole process.
Yeah, like we had to use a different program for deficiencies, where with the other one that we were trying, which was working, but it was more cumbersome.
Yeah.
For the site super to work with and all that. Well, in Procore, it's all on the one app. Everything is on the one app. Everything is just tabs. It's simple to use. It's easy. It's a point and click.
Yeah.
Right? Fill in a couple of notes.
Yeah, and for our listeners, I mean, it's like anyone on site can download the app on your phone. You've got the system downloaded on all your desktops and your laptops, and it's just as any kind of construction management, it is phenomenal. What you can't do without it once you start using it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going back now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Anything else, Phil? Anything you want to add or finish with? Or
I think I'm good. I just want to say thanks for having us today. It's a cool experience. I've never done a podcast before, so obviously the nerves were there, but I want to say thank you.
Oh, you did great, and you too, Jim. It's it's always an interesting time just to hear so many different unique companies out there and so many people. You think of companies that have become a little more well-known, just they've been around a long time, and organically that's just naturally what happens, they grow. But there's so many companies out there that are doing awesome things, and it's really neat to sit with you guys and talk about this, especially about this new residential tilt-up thing, which is I'm just thinking like all the listeners who still have no power and are cleaning up damage to their homes right now from last weekend during Fiona, be thinking like, man, I hope that takes off fast and we can have one of those built for next year, or when the next hurricane comes around.
So next week I'm in Denver, Colorado, at a tilt-up convention, and one of the seminars I'm booked into is actually tilt-up and net zero. Like, it is the perfect construction method.
Right.
If you're thinking net zero.
Yeah.
You want to get up.
Who isn't thinking net zero now?
You want to get off the grid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be bringing back a ton of stuff, a ton of knowledge on that. To the team.
To tag along, Phil, or what? You don't get to
I don't get to tag along.
No, he's too busy.
I got to stay here and get some work done.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like a good time, Jim. Have a good time in Denver, and thanks for doing this. It's been great. It's been great chatting with you both.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This episode is brought to you by Cook Insurance, your trusted insurance broker in Atlantic, Canada for 50 years. Insurance is complex, and the Cook team focuses on delivering comprehensive solutions for your construction needs, including builder's risk, wrap-up liability, performance bonds, and project-specific construction. A Navicord partner since 2020, Cook is one of the largest construction brokers in Canada and offers national strength with a local touch. Whatever your insurance needs are, Cook has you covered. We would like to take this time to thank a longtime sponsor of our media platform, FCA Surety. The brokers at FCA Surety are experts in all surety bonding categories and provide unparalleled service during the bonding process.